Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shared Screens podcast. I'm your host today, Alec, and I'm joined by Bo, Jordan, and LeighErin. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Very tired.
It's Last of Us season finale day, so happy Last of Us season finale day to all who celebrate.
Yep. Everybody get ready to hurt.
I'm so excited. And then I just have Ted Lasso to open his arms and comfort me in 3 days.
Potentially. Apparently, if it's the final season, who knows what roller coaster ride we're going to be on.
Zombies and Ted Lasso.
Yeah. So, I got a couple different topics. One's probably a shorter one, but then the other, I would say probably like one of the main topics of the show. So, which one would you guys want to hear first?
Let's start with the little one. Let's be like John Oliver. We'll do our cute little story in the beginning, and then we'll get into the meat of it, right?
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so I have a beef with like phone manufacturers because they can really just push an update and just be like, hey, your phone's just basically a brick now. Yeah. Why? Like, I know they need to make money on new phones, but like, why? My phone was working fine. Then one day I got an update, and then now it's just like, hey, it's showing it's charging, but the percentage isn't going up. Or, hey, here's a notification that you get 20 to 30 minutes late.
But Alec, if you don't replace your phone, then why are we making all of these wonderful fancy commercials and adding 7 cameras in our new phone? Like, it's such a, like, unfortunately purely capitalist kind of...
Like I said, I understand that, but it's like, why just make other phones just be like, hey, you don't work now?
Jordan and I have this conversation all the time because I am absolutely not somebody, I'm not shitting on people who are, but I am not somebody that like the newest thing is out and I feel like I need it. I am comfortable with what works for me and I would like to stay with what I know for as long as physically possible. And so I hate this because like, this is like the iPhone 12. It's the mini. It fits perfectly in my hand. Like I can actually like hold it and not feel like a toddler holding my father's phone. And like, I know how it works. Every time there's an update, I resist doing the software update for as long as physically possible because I don't want to deal with new things. And I get mad whenever iPhone rolls out a new generation of phone and they don't add the mini. Listen, I have small hands. I cannot hold this like 4 camera lens, 7-inch screen fucking shit. I can't do it. I like to be able to hold my phone with one. This is something that actually makes me mad. It's like, because my friend has like the newest iPhone that's like big. I can't use it. I have to hold it in 2 hands. It feels like I'm holding a weapon. Like, just let me stay with my phone that I like and, you know, we don't brick it.
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna sound like I'm on pro Apple here or pro phone manufacturers in general. But like, I mean, I'm still rocking the XS Max and things are going good. But
you still have a 10 and it works.
XS, to be fair. But that's the thing is Apple goes on a 5-year timeline and where basically the phone is guaranteed to work with like the next 5 yearly software updates. Mm-hmm. And after that, it probably won't. Occasionally it does. And then they kind of stop supporting it. Now, I've had this for 5 years. I won't lie. Battery has been replaced, but that is just like normal wear and tear at a certain point.
Yeah.
I think the other thing with you, though, Jordan, is you worked at Geek Squad, and I think you have an understanding of software higher than the average person, because until you just said it, I will say I'm the average person because I'm an idiot when it comes to tech. I didn't know you could replace iPhone batteries. I didn't know that was a thing.
You can, but the thing is, and I know this gets into the whole right to the repair stuff, and like I've switched my opinion on right to repair, and we'll get into that if you want. But if you want to get your iPhone screen or battery replaced, the best way to do it is to go through the correct channels, which is a certified Apple repair shop like Geek Squad or an Apple store. And the reason is because you could say Apple rigs their motherboard so that way third-party parts don't work. But what it really is third-party parts are made by who knows what, and they don't take the correct power. And then they're just, it's just you're putting a part in there that's not meant to be there. Mm-hmm. Phones are so much more, it's literally like they're the consoles of versus like, I guess PCs are the PCs of consoles. But like phones are kind of like consoles where everything has to be from the manufacturer for them to work the way as intended, with the exception of smaller accessories. because like we used to have one of those, and they have them in every mall, like the people that just sell phone cases and are also like, yeah, we'll replace a screen or a battery on anything. And they're not doing any documentation. They're not doing the collaboration or calibrations that Apple has you do pre and post repair. They're not buying authentic Apple parts. And then so people get upset when suddenly the battery they bought for like $30 is like swelling. Yeah. I think Apple needs to expand who they allow to repair phones. Like, I think if Apple gave these lessons and accounts, and when I say accounts is like at Geek Squad, I literally had an Apple account as if I was an Apple employee to do the diagnostics on people's phone. I think if Apple expanded that to smaller businesses, that would be great. But the whole right to repair thing gets tricky because you have people using... They kind of want to make it like a car where I shouldn't have to buy Jeep tires for my Jeep. I should be able just to go to Firestone or Bridgestone or AutoZone and just get whatever I need to be done. But phones are designed in a way where personally I think that like that's not always going to be the case. Because their way that they want to get around right to repair now is they want to ship people the phone with the tools to open it and instructions on how to do it. And that sounds like the worst idea to me.
I'm why that doesn't work. I am the person, I am that lowest common denominator. When they tell you to like think of that for the consumer, I am that lowest common denominator. I am very intelligent with other things. I'm not saying that I'm dumb, but when it comes to technology, like Jordan just gave a fantastic description. I retained maybe 50% of that.
It was fantastic.
It was a very good description. I just like it gets to a point where I stop understanding what any of this means because I have no context for it.
And it's the same with other products as well. Like if my Switch screen was going to crack, realistically, I should probably go through Nintendo to get that screen replaced.
Yep.
Okay, can I bring something up that's not connected to phones that'll be really quick and then we can go into your second topic?
Yeah.
Speaking of Switches, I recently bought the Ezio, however you say that man's name, collection for Assassin's Creed on the Switch, right? And I feel like I have to admit that I am a liar because for years on this, I've been like, graphics don't bother me. Old graphics, like, don't do anything to me. I can't tell the fucking difference. Oh my god, the Assassin's Creed 2 graphics are atrocious to
Keep in mind, that is a PS3 game you're playing.
No, I know. And like, it's so bad to look at.
Well, plus, it's also res down for the Switch's screen.
That's true, yeah. The PS3 was actually able to do 1080p.
And it's like, it's insane. It's insane. The scene where, like, spoiler alert, but this game came out a million years ago, so I don't feel that bad. Like,
there was the Big Bang, and then there was Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, when Ezio's family is assassinated or put to death or whatever, the nooses were in the middle of their backs, and so it looked like they just fell into the noose and died rather than just dropping. And so it's this big dramatic moment that is supposed to launch what is the actual game and like lead you to getting all your assassin shit. And I'm just crying, laughing. Because it's also, they hang a 12-year-old for treason. And like, I can understand hanging the father, the older brother, and Ezio because they're like adults who can make decisions. But Petruchio is 12 and does not seem all there, as he was crying about eagle feathers 10 minutes ago. Like, why are we killing the child?
Have you met 12-year-olds?
Here's the other thing about the graphics, though, is I was told by my mother before I entered the house that I needed to talk to my sister Claudia and my brother Petruchio. And Petruchio has hair down to his shoulders and straight across bangs. So when I started talking to him, I could not figure out if it was my sister Claudia or my brother Petruchio. I was going through it, trying to figure out who I was speaking to.
Yeah, I think the PS3 360 generation is like the second hardest generation to go back to in terms of graphics. First is N64 PS1. Those first sets of polygons were rough, man. Like, I look at Cloud Strife now, and dude's got the same type of arms as Electabuzz. It's wild. But then it's like, the PS2 original Xbox is like the proportions and shapes are right, but everything is simplified. PS3 was like, we're going to do shaders. And then we got to PS4, we're like, we had no idea how we were doing shaders before. These are shit.
Well, what's wild is I remember we got a PS2 because they had stopped releasing Harry Potter games on GameCube, like the movie tie-in games. And like movie tie-in games were me and my sister's shit, not just with Harry Potter, even with shit we didn't watch. We loved movie tie-in games. And so we got a PS2 so we could keep playing them. And I remember thinking that the graphics for Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix were really, really good. And then the other week I was watching somebody like break down all the games and how they were different from like system to system. The graphics are terrible to look at. Their hands just look like shovels. Like, it's wild to look at.
Especially with Order of the Phoenix, because that was the first one on the PS3 360 generation, so the PS2 just got the most dumbed-down version.
Which was fine. Like, the games we were playing before this was like Bratz Forever Diamonds, you know? Like, Caitlin and I were not like big gamers. Listen, I still play through those games sometimes as an adult because they're so much fun to play when you're high. They're so colorful and so fun, and since I know the plot and could probably play that game with my eyes closed, I just run through it sometimes when I'm stoned. It's a great game. Bratz Forever Diamonds, Bratz Rock Angels. We were always mad that the third movie never got released as a movie tie-in. Ugh. I loved those games. I refuse to be shamed for this. I'm not going to sit here and like make fun of myself. I loved those games.
No one's shaming you.
No.
Yeah,
All of Shared Screens is going to collectively bully this only girl for playing a Bratz game when she was 8.
Listen, all of those games, the Barbie games for the PC were also fantastic. There's one where like you're on a ranch and people are getting murdered. Like, it's a great time.
I heard the Barbie PvP was like really, really competitive around 2009.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic right now.
I'm completely out of my ass. I have no idea if there was PvP in Barbie.
No, there is. Like, it was a very... Yeah, so like in this, on the PC games, I don't fully know how it works because we didn't do it because my dad was like a little paranoid about us playing like online games. My dad makes incredibly difficult passwords that are nothing he can ever remember, puts them all in a flash drive that is locked with another very complicated password. He acts like he works for the CIA. It's wild.
You told me this, and I'm still like, what the fuck? Because you told me it was for like the Amazon account.
Yeah, it's for everything. It's not just for like, oh, my bank account or like our stock portfolio. It's for like Kohl's. Like, he makes these long, complicated passwords, and whenever my mom and I like tease him about it, he's like, well, because the thing is, if I don't make them long and complicated, yeah, they hack Kohl's and they get my password to that, and then they can figure out my pattern for everything else. And it's like, no. You're sweet, sweet man.
I like that that's the motivation, and your dad's like, they can have my Kohl's cash over my hard, dead body.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, then you get those scammers that just like, they're trying a little too hard. Because like, I've been getting emails from a fake Discord to like an email that's not associated with my Discord account. And it's using like, it's just like, the only reason I knew that is because it was getting sent to the wrong email. I'm like, this isn't even on my Discord account, and saying, hey, fake login information. And like just the other night, they had sent so many emails. They're just like, we have locked you out of your account. But I'm like, I'm still here. Like, I can still type in Discord. Yeah. It's just like...
Yeah, we've been going through that with Amazon because it's the same thing. My number isn't tied to our Amazon account. My dad's is, but I keep getting texts being like, your Amazon account has been hacked. It's like, no, it hasn't.
Yeah, like when I was getting we've been trying to reach you about your car insurance. I'm like, I don't have car insurance. I'm under my parents.
Yeah. Sorry, Bo, what were you going to say?
Just on the subject of dads, like, being overly dad, like, there was one point where I did something in my childhood where I deserved the reaction of getting my DS taken away from me. Like, I remember it was one of those, like, I wasn't upset that, like, it happened. I was upset that I did what I did more than anything. I was just like, yeah, no, that's valid. That's valid. Do what you got to do. He was like, you'll get this back when you deserve it. And then, like, and, you know, as an adult, I don't know how long, like, how much time had passed, but as a kid, I'm like, fucking months have gone by. Like, I've grown facial hair and I'm 9 years old and all this shit. And I'm like, I got into reading and like, I just like, I was like fully grounded. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't like do anything on the internet. Like, I was just I was Amish for all intents and purposes and just like doing chores and shit. And one day he was just like, I just want to say, like, what happened? Like, you used to love video games and, like, cartoons and stuff, and I just haven't seen you, do any of this. And I'm like, Dad, I've been grounded for, like, who knows how long. And he's like, oh, I totally forgot about that. My bad. Like, do you want I've had your DS in my dresser for so long, I didn't know why. And I was like, yeah, because you took it from me.
Took it. You never thought to be like, hey, Bo, why do I have your DS?
And he was like so apologetic, but I'm like, how do you forget? I'm like, I'm living out Shawshank Redemption. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to tunnel from the second story of my house to freedom in the suburbs. I don't fucking know. Like,
Bo went to school when he was grounded. He learned about Nelson Mandela. It was like, we're not so different, you and I.
Jesus. Yeah, okay, and that was my little excursion. Alec, I know that there was another larger topic that you wanted to get to.
Yeah, so I played D&D for the first time a few weeks ago. Nice. And honestly, it was a good time. We played with some of Bo's friends, and Bo is actually the DM of that. So, and I was gonna say it's nice having a group that's like kind of newer to D&D, because like they've played like a game or two. I know Bo, he's played a little bit, so it's like we're all kind of like relatively new-ish, but it's nice. Like we had the craziest first encounter that wasn't meant to be anything. Like we guy was trying to find some water and we rolled so many ones in that first session. Like, yeah. And it was trying to find water and somehow ran into some spiders. And that ended up being like a crazy first encounter that like one of us was getting dragged by a spider and almost died. And like, I remember one time Bo just like I think that one of the spiders rolled like a 20 and was just like, yeah, no, that didn't happen. Like, it's like we were just struggling so much with this first encounter.
Nice.
I am becoming slowly very into D&D. So I bought the starter kit a while ago and then got a new job, and just that kind of like took my focus. And I've now gotten into reading it, and I am so goddamn excited for Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. The first reviews just came out of South by Southwest, and they're all saying it's fucking phenomenal, and like I cannot wait.
Like, I'll actually get some references now that I've played.
Yeah, and like I just am becoming this, like, I don't know if I will ever be able to play it, because every time I watch people try to play it, I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. But I love it. And like, I've now gotten into Critical Role, and I'm trying to figure out if I can watch all of the YouTube videos of the gameplay of Mighty 9 before Mighty 9 comes out on Amazon, because I loved Legend of the Vox Machina. That's really what started all of this. Was I watched the first season in quarantine and was like obsessed, and then watched their whole like regular playthrough. I love it. And like, now I'm on the train of like shared screens D&D. I don't give a shit. Shared screens D&D. Because I just think we're all chaotic, and I think that that's what you need. Like, even if you're a player, I know, like, you know, I don't think it would be a good group to have everybody align as some sort of chaotic. But like, because we ourselves, people controlling the board, are chaotic.
It's also not, it's not a matter of like team organization. Like, all of you can go in with the best laid plans, and like, if you roll ones, you roll ones. Like, that's kind of like what Alec
That's what happened in our first session.
It's like playing a stealth game. You get caught and you're like, fuck it, guns a-blazing.
That's really how it is. And as the dungeon master, like, I need to figure out like justifiable consequences for what happens. Like
the first roll I ever made in D&D, I rolled a 1, and because it was like one of those, like, where our group was like just leaving where we were at, and it was like, who we need to, or who's going to drive the wagon, and nobody was really saying anything. So I'm like, why not? You know, just to get this thing going, just so we're not just sitting here forever trying to pick somebody. And something happened. Bo had me roll, and I rolled a 1. And I think, if I'm remembering it correctly, one of the horses kicked the other horse, and that horse kicked me in the face. And then that horse like got loose.
Good.
Yeah.
I have been offered to play D&D a few times, and it's just never happened. And I've wanted to get into it, but like, and I think I've mentioned this before, but like, fantasy's never been my biggest thing, so I'd love to. I think the best way to start would be with classic ever D&D, but I feel like if I ever see myself getting really into a tabletop RPG, it would be something a little bit different. And I've listened to a few interviews of Brendan Lee Mulligan discussing different things about not even D&D as a whole, but like kind of the art of tabletop RPGs. And then
you should watch Roll20.
You mean Dimension 20?
Dimension 20. Sorry, not Roll20. That's a different one. Dimension 20.
I've been thinking about it. I was listening earlier this year, or later last year. I started listening to Power Rangers Hyperforce, which is like the Power Rangers tabletop RPG they made just for this Twitch stream. But then Jason David Frank passed away right before I got to the episode that he's in, and I haven't been able to listen to it yet. Yeah, like I tried, and then I was like, no, I wasn't in an emotional place yet. I might have to try again, but I still don't know if I'm gonna be honest. But that one was really cool because the DM was talking about, one, that she wrote the campaign and how she was just a huge Power Rangers fan, and she got the opportunity to like incorporate things from every different version into this one plot line because they're going through time. And she also created a whole new system of like, you roll 1 die when you're in your civilian clothes. You roll 2 dice when you're morphed, and when you guys are in the Megazord, all your rolls get added up.
That's like.
So, yeah, this is the other thing on like, I awoken something this year with like high fantasy, and I am in a world that I never knew existed. Like, I'm debating reading the Lord of the Rings books, and if you guys have known me for a long time, like that's been something I've been very resistant to. I don't know why, but like I have.
Okay, but how funny would it be if you love the books and still just can't retain the movies?
Cannot retain the plot of the movies. Jesus Christ, have seen them upwards of 10 times. And like I have probably about 25 to 30 scenes that I know happen. I have no idea in which movie or what order. Except for Sean Bean dies relatively early on in Fellowship of the Ring. And like I know that. And they like put him on a boat and they send him off.
I still haven't like finished the trilogy. I've tried many a time and I just can't get into it. But
you know what does me in? The Ents. We get to the talking trees and it's like, it's nap time. I've been watching these movies for 5 hours. It's nap time. And then you find out that like the Ents, there are no women in their group, which is why they're walking. But the reason there are no women in their group is they were basically all the men were dicks to all the women of their tribe. So they were all like, fuck you guys, we're leaving. And are off living somewhere else.
Have you tried watching them like a Netflix miniseries where you're like, hey, it's a 3-season show. I'm going to watch these movies in 40-minute intervals. I
wonder if that exists.
I don't mean cut it. I just mean pause every 40 minutes and be like, I'll come back to this.
No, I know. But like The Irishman, there were all these guides of like the best way to break it up.
But there was also a meme of like how to watch The Irishman like a series like that. I remember that.
It was very long. It was very long.
Even like the Snyder Cut of Justice League, how they had like all the chapters. And,
I split that into 2 viewings.
Well, no, my friend and I, we like sat through it all in one go, but every time there was the chapter, because like it fades to black, fades like the next chapter thing. Every time we would pause, like, hey, do we need a bathroom? Like, go grab some more snacks, like whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
it was kind of like what you were saying, just the perfect like break points.
Shout out to Bleak Minds on the film Reddit who posted how to watch the Lord of the Ring trilogy broken up into a miniseries. Hi all, quarantine or not, watching all of these movies is an absolute commitment, and I had even though I'm a big LOTR fan, I had a hard time committing to them. So I thought it'd be helpful to break it down, and he breaks it down with like, if you have the DVDs, what disc and when to stop, or if you're just watching it on streaming, like, shout out to this man. I may try it this way. Not alone, because this big spider in this moves fucking fast, and I'm terrified of it. So, like, this is something I have to watch with people.
LeighErin,
but like,
you grew up on Harry Potter. You've seen
but here's the thing:
upwards of how many times?
Aragog is slow. Aragog is incredibly slow moving. He says goodbye, Harry Potter, over the span of a minute, and then starts moving his giant ass body out of the crater. And all the little ones are coming. In Lord of the Rings, That spider fucking shoots out of the cage like a race car and is on Frodo before I even processed what was happening. Like, it terrified me as a child. And what I hate is one of my best friends loves Lord of the Rings, talks about it all the fucking time. And whenever I bring this up, he calls the spider her, she, and whatever the name is. And I hate it so much. I beg him that you have to stop calling it by the name. I can't do it. It makes me so uncomfortable. And he'll be like, yeah, but she's so cool because she's from this. Stop calling her she. Like, stop personifying it.
Shelob? I looked up Lord of the Rings spider, and I'm assuming...
Yeah.
Yeah, Shelob.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why does it have a name? It doesn't need a name.
Everything in fantasy has a name.
Wait, but here's my question. Is Shelob the species, or is it like what they call this one specific spider? Because I always thought it was what they call this one specific spider.
Maybe it's like
that's what I'm saying. I
believe
that was the name.
Yeah. Also, it's important to me that you guys know I have Roll20 and a bunch of other how to play D&D long distance open on my other monitor.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's her name. But they just say fictional monster in the form of a giant spider. So I don't think we know like the Latin name of their species, but we know that her name is Shelob.
Well, that's good information. In terms of playing D&D long distance, we play on like Discord, obviously, and we use like D&D Beyond has Discord integration. So like,
that's so cool.
So like, I will have all of their character sheets open, the encounter open with like, or the campaign open with all of the encounters that I have planned out. And then if they happen to stumble upon one of them, then I'll open that and then like it'll roll initiative for me and like with all of their characters in it. If one of them needs to roll for a certain modifier, like a certain check, then they can just like click on the, like it, we're still figuring it out. Mm-hmm. Like there's a really cool feature in the Discord where you can like type in a command and be like, what does the spell do? And then it'll pop up. It's called Avray, I believe. Avray, Avrae, and it's very, very, very helpful. We're still figuring it out. I'm not a master yet, but
it was a little bit. We're having a hard time setting it up, like because we got to like our usual times are like Sundays at 11, and we didn't start playing till like 11:45 because we're trying to get it set up and all that, and
yeah. Well, because in my mind, I am slowly creating a series where we play D&D. And I feel like we could have that just be the first episode, because I'm looking at this character sheet stuff, and I don't know what half of these words mean.
The first episode can definitely be, like, I can help whoever works.
I legitimately just did, like, the bog standard, like, kind of had it do everything for me. If you use D&D Beyond, it makes it very straightforward.
Yeah.
Even though I've never played D&D, when I was talking about it with coworkers at Best Buy, I told people what idea I'd want for my character, and someone's like, oh, so this is the species and this is the class. And so what I would want to be is halflings are the shortest, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So a halfling warrior who carries 2 daggers, and my special move, if I like get a high roll, would be I do the thing Black Widow does, where like she wraps her legs around people's necks, and then I just stab their eyes with the daggers.
Jesus. Jesus.
Yeah, that's my special.
All right.
Why do you need to be short for this?
Because it's so much more impressive if you're tiny and you jump up and you're like, ah.
Just like Yoda or Grogu.
This is right up there with Greg Miller and the mini alligator. And I was like, well, why do you have to be a mini alligator?
Okay, because like if I'm normal height,
yeah,
I would just stab someone in the eyes.
Okay, but they're gonna stop you. Like, let's not pretend that whoever you're fighting is like you're just gonna walk up and start doing this to their face, like you're shadow boxing. Like,
yes, but I like the idea that I get in under them, I jump on their neck like a fucking toddler, but then I just Also, from down below, right in the nutsack, clear shot. You want to talk about shadow boxing? There's a speed bag right there.
Oh my god. I don't think you would actually have the balls to ever do that to another person.
I mean,
in D&D, I would.
No consequences. Yeah, what am I?
Yeah. I mean, unless you roll a 1. We've learned that very many times.
Yeah, but I mean, also in real life, there's very few people whose testicles come up above my head.
They don't need to be above your head to stab them.
This is true.
Anytime you take... This shouldn't be surprising to anyone, but whenever you take self-defense classes, they literally are like, here are 8,000 different ways that from any position you can grab a dude's testicles.
It's like the life's cheat code.
It's like the hole in the Death Star.
Yeah. Like, yeah. It's, you don't need to be, they don't need to be above you. You don't even need to be facing them.
So, yeah.
Sorry, D&D.
Let's make that a stream. But when we all meet up, that'll be the IRL stream. LeighErin is just going to dismantle all of us. Like just John Wick, just going through just...
Oh, God. That's another one that I got to watch all the John Wick movies before this new one comes out because all the trailers for it look so good.
Yeah, same.
I know nothing about John Wick. I know nothing about the plot.
Ooh,
all I know is that
so
his dog dies, and then my dad loves these movies. And so, like, we're talking about that we're going to FaceTime and, like, watch all the movies before the new one comes out. Nice. But yeah, like, that's just kind of my energy with fantasy. Sorry, go ahead, Bo.
No, go ahead.
This is just kind of my energy with fantasy is because I'm looking at all of these, like, what did they call them? Classes? Yeah, classes. And I just want to be whatever one is the most violent. Like, I want an axe.
Barbarian,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm playing, Barbarian. Well, because Bo, he had a kind of, I would say, like a kind of a stipulation. Like, in mind, it's like, when you're making your characters have kind of like something in mind that you wanted to do. So, like, I don't know, if you want to give the example of what you told us, Bo.
I mean, I think it was just have like a character in mind that you want to emulate. Like I was very upfront in the beginning that like I'm going to steal a lot narratively, so just have fun creatively stealing things for your character. And Alec came to me, and I mean at this point it's kind of open, but like he said, like you were basically Reinhardt from Overwatch.
Yeah, essentially just being Reinhardt. But like the example Bo gave was in one thing that he did, he uses the weapon that from Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, yeah. So
which one?
So just the idea from the main sword throw mechanic. Like we were doing like a superhero type role playing game, and I was just like, oh yeah, my thing is I have a dagger that I can throw, and then wherever it lands, I can teleport to it, like Noctis from Final Fantasy. Right? And I was overpowered. It was fucking awesome. So I was just like, do something like that, like anything like that.
I know we've made it pretty clear, but just for the audience, like to really know, we stand Final Fantasy 15 in this house.
Oh yeah, like I don't want children, but like I kind of want a son purely to do the whole like walk tall, my son, and like have him go off to wherever the fuck. Like I don't know.
I want to throw axes. That is my big thing. That is my, like, I've talked about this to Jordan outside. Like, whenever I'm writing fantasy stuff, I love people with axes. I don't know why. It just, like, brings me so much joy. Like, battle axes are cool as fuck, guys.
Yeah,
like, it's sick as hell.
You're not wrong.
I'm a sword person.
No, I want an axe. I think I don't know why. We had to
Warhammer in D&D,
which is also awesome. Like, this is the thing. I had to do a lot of character creation when I was getting my master's in creative writing because obviously like that's a big, especially my writing for games class, because that wasn't just video games, it was also teaching us to write tabletop. Cool. And so we had to build a bunch of characters. And my professor wrote me a note once and was like, this is really, really good. But like, why do all of your characters seem to have like a big weapon, like an axe or a hammer, and then just like a bow and arrow? And that's like what they act on. Like that is how it is, either sniping people from
You've never played Skyrim before.
Right? Like, I just feel like that's the best of both worlds, is you get to snipe people with the bow and arrow when you're far away, and then when you're up close and you're being an absolute fucking rage monster, you get to just demolish them with a hammer or an axe.
Don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me.
Exactly. Like, that is my energy.
Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick, like one of our party members, he is a ranger. And he rolled for his he actually like rolled for his stats, and he's a bow and arrow, but he had such a bad roll for dexterity. He has a -4 modifier to dexterity. So he used the bow and arrow once, and like the enemy would essentially have gained like 2 health because of his rolled so poorly.
Yeah, it's. I mean, okay, and also he would roll ones. Like it was not just that. It was he would roll ones. I think he has the most ones so far.
Yeah.
Still, I hear him like he shoots someone with an arrow, and that guy gains health. To me, it's like the scene in iCarly when Spencer's just playing the drums and they light on fire. He goes, "How is that even possible?"
Because after a while, like, it's also like I'm kind of lazy as a DM. Like I've played under like I did the D&D Adventurers League in LA at one point, and that was like awesome because you go and it's like a tavern themed bar, and you can get drinks, and like there's someone that comes around and is like in a voice like, "Hey, do you need anything else?" Like whatever. I can just more fried pickles, me lady, like whatever. And there's like a professional dungeon master who he is just a normal dude. And then he sits down and he goes, "Well, adventurers, what do you want to do?" I'm like, "Oh shit, okay, let's do this." Like I feel like I'm a part of a theater troupe. So that's very fun. My friend's older brother, very good at this. I am just like, I just don't want anyone to be bored. So like, if I need to make something up on the spot, I'm gonna do it. And like, I might not hide it. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't want to.
Yeah, no, I like how chill it is. Like for being my first time ever playing, like I like how flexible it's been.
Now, Bo, how much do you, and like I'm wondering if this is a thing that changes DM to DM, especially when you're playing with like both as a less experienced DM and with less experienced players. Do you like lay out the general vibe of the campaign? Because one of the things I heard Brendan Lee Mulligan say once is that like he had a whole campaign plan that like was going to start at like I think like an orc wedding or a troll wedding, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just like he had like generic dialogue where it was like the troll or orc princess was like not super keen on marrying the guy, and so the entire like campaign group went, "Oh, what we need to do is save her and kidnap her from the wedding," and like completely just changed what the campaign's supposed to be. And Brendan's kind of being like, as the DM, I have to encourage them to do everything, but now I'm also here scrambling for a new campaign.
So I did my research beforehand of like I don't want to go in like if I go in half baked, that's fine. I just don't want to go in like with salmonella. Like I want it to be cooked enough. like it might not be tasty, but I don't want to get anyone sick. You know.
You need a medium rare campaign.
Yeah. So I did a bunch of research, and a lot of the people that I was like listening to were saying the same thing in terms of like have a plan, have a map laid out, have like an idea of who's doing what. Have an idea of like the win condition for the group, but like don't write individual lines of dialogue for each character because you will lose all of your time, and eventually one of your players could just go like, "Well, I'm a maniac, so I'm going to kill everyone in town," and if they have the roles, they can do it. So like, why would I invest? Like,
which we do have a couple of those on our party.
We do. That's okay, but I'm saying like I will make a character sheet for someone that I feel like will have something of value to say. And if they don't have anything of value to say, I'll just say, they don't have anything of value to say to you right now. Like it's very, very easy to just like shut down a certain branch, but also like I'm down to keep branches open. Yeah. Like I'm not going to say anything specific, but there is something that happened early in that now by necessity of storytelling, I have to pay off in some way. And it was completely random. So
I think I might have an idea.
Yeah.
What is the difference between a class and a race? Do you need both?
Yes. A race is
like we're human. So like the dwarves, orcs, humans, you know.
Oh, that's so fun. Oh my god.
Yeah. And then the races, or the class is like what you can, like your job, essentially, like your proficiencies.
Unless Bo acts aggressively to me saying this, I have decided our April stream is going to be us creating our characters for D&D. We're doing it. We're going to dance around it for the rest of time. If I just don't like hold us to it. And like, I'm excited now, so I'm going to hold us to it.
Well, look,
Bo doesn't even have to DM. I have somebody who will probably DM for us if it would be too much for you, Bo, because I don't want to put you on the spot and be like, you have to do this, you know?
I mean, I would like to. I just need to make sure that my schedule is all good. In terms of, we can talk about this offline.
I don't want people to think that I'm like lumping stuff on Bo. If Bo doesn't have time, I have somebody else who will absolutely have time to DM.
No, we'll see. I would like to DM.
See, my dream is for a Pokemon tabletop RPG. Where somebody makes a region, they make gym leaders, they make a thing that determines which Pokemon can come up on which route.
So, like, what race are you, Alex? That sounds really bad out of context. What race is your D&D character, Alec?
My character is a half-orc barbarian.
Oh, sick as fuck. So I can be like an elf barbarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily, like, it, I was trying to make something that kind of like somewhat made sense because like barbarian, you know, big brooding guys. So like orcs are like gigantic. Like I think my guy is like 6'9", like 260 some pounds.
Oh, he's over like 6 foot.
He's a unit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, Jordan.
Yeah, going with that whole Reinhardt theme. Like that's why I got the Warhammer because Reinhardt has the hammer. So yeah. So yeah, I guess you guys have that to look forward to in April. Let's go and make it through some D&D character sheets. And yeah, so thank you all so much for watching. This has been an episode of the Shared Screens podcast. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and go check out our Last of Us podcasts. Those are all out now, and prepare for season 2 whenever that comes. Goodbye.